Starting from Tim Berners-Lee forming the internet, until now, the digital age has pervaded almost every aspect of our lives. Today, we cannot imagine calling a cab on the road or maybe calling a restaurant to place an order because we are so used to apps doing these for us. At the same time, our children are out there on the internet getting exposed to a lot of influences, both good and the ones not so good. Today, we have a stellar panel lined up for you so that we can discuss the various aspects of going digital, particularly their use and abuse. Before I go on to the speakers for the day, I will take this opportunity to show you a short notebook video. Notebook, as you all know, is a digital learning product. We are an edtech platform where we use short videos to help teachers conduct classes better. The way this works is each topic of the curriculum is converted into short, crisp videos that are 6 to 10 minutes in duration. When the teachers are starting their class, especially when it's an online class, they have the option of playing this video before the start of a class. In fact, some schools also share these videos 2 days before the class, asking students to prepare their own summaries that they come into classes with. The ideal example of a flipped classroom. Now, I will show you one such short clip of one of the notebook videos.
Hello and welcome to Notebook. We have now been introduced to trigonometry. As you have seen in the last video, this branch of mathematics has many implications in real life. To dive deeper into the concepts, we will consider a right-angled triangle ABC. Here, AC is the hypotenuse or H, AB is the base or B, and BC is the perpendicular or P. As we have seen earlier, we will be concerned with the value of the angles and the length of the sides in trigonometry. We would be dividing one side of the triangle by another to get a unique value, and this value will be a unique trigonometric ratio. Let's move on. We will divide one side of the triangle by another and thereby have 6 different ratios. The first ratio is called the sine of angle A. This is equal to side opposite to angle A by hypotenuse, or perpendicular by hypotenuse, or BC by AC. The second ratio is the cosine of angle A. This is equal to side adjacent to angle A by hypotenuse, or the base by hypotenuse, or AB by AC. The third ratio, or the tangent of angle A, and is equal to side opposite to angle A by side adjacent to angle A, or the perpendicular by base, or BC by AB. The fourth, fifth, and sixth ratios are the reciprocals of the sine, cos, and tan values respectively. They are known as the cosec, sec, and cot ratios. This looks like a lot to remember, right? Don't worry, we have a shortcut for you. All you have to remember is the line, some people have curly brown hair turning permanently black. If you memorize this line, it will help you remember the ratios all your life. How? Let's see. Some people have is a way of remembering sine is equal to perpendicular by hypotenuse. Similarly, curly brown hair shows us that cos is equal to base by hypotenuse, and turning permanently black reminds us that tan is equal to perpendicular by base. Interesting, isn't it? And just as we have discussed earlier, the cosec, sec, and cot values are just the reciprocal of the sine, cos, and tan figures. If you ever need to revise the values, feel free to rewind this video. Before we end today's video, let us remember and list some important points about these ratios.
Well, after that short clip from Notebook, it is now my privilege to introduce to you your speakers for the day. Our first speaker today is Mr. Philip Burrett. Mr. Burrett retired as the Deputy Headmaster from the illustrious Doon School in Dehradun after 44 years of serving in education across various institutions. He served the Doon School as Housemaster, Head of Department, Dean of Student Welfare, Dean of Activities, Deputy Headmaster, Second Master and Acting Headmaster with great distinction. He also carried out a visioning exercise for the Doon School in the year 2011 through an in-depth study of a number of British public schools and various schools in the US. Mr. Burrett qualified as a leadership trainer at Wellington College, UK in the year 2000. He is also an athlete, an adventurer, and a naturalist. Sir, our privilege to have you with us. Over to you.
Thank you, Shubayu. I hope I'm audible, Shubayu.
Loud and clear, sir.
Yeah, very good evening to you, Achin, the whole team, Abhishek, our esteemed panel, and our guests who have tuned in. I must say that that little clip that you put on the screen now by Notebook, that is amazing. If I had that sort of teaching in my school, I would have passed my trigonometry. My career of 40 years as a teacher has spanned the entire spectrum. There were no computers when I first became a teacher. And eventually when I left my last school, we were a paperless society. We were fully wired 24/7. And so I traveled the whole journey of the computers in school. There is good and bad to everything. The poppy produces morphine as well as heroin. And cars are excellent transport, but they kill thousands of people on the road. It's all down to how we use these facilities. As teachers, as a community of teachers, we know that nothing new is very easily accepted, unless of course it's a pay hike. We will resist change, come what may, and hold on to some of the older ways of doing things. When the digital age hit us, it hit us at different places at different times. And we all groaned and fought it off and pushed it away. When computers first came into schools, there was a lot of misuse initially, I found. But gradually, children tire of even misuse. It loses its novelty. And then it gets used for what it was rightly supposed to be used for. In my last school, we thought we were well ahead of other schools, and we gloated on the fact that all our senior boys had laptops, until I visited schools in the US, where I found laptops which were supplied by the school to every student just lay scattered about the lawns, on benches and libraries, everywhere. They just left their laptops and they ate in the cafeteria. They were used to these machines. These people were using it long before we do. And they had gone through the stages of misuse and now had started using it for what it was used for. And so in staff rooms all over the world, there's been this endless debate about should we digitalize or should we not? Now, in my experience, the more younger teachers obviously welcomed it and had taken to teaching lessons on screens, printers. They even indented for all their software, hardware. But the old graybeard teachers somehow, and they were the most senior in school, they fought it off. And so this was always a problem with staff rooms, with schools. Should we bring in computers? How much should we bring in? What should we do? Now, when you asked why they didn't want to bring in computers, there were many reasons. One, of course, was that kids become unfit. Obesity was a very big problem at the Doon School. In a survey we carried out, we discovered that 1/3 of our students were overweight, not obese necessarily, but overweight. And these were kids who were playing a lot of sport and eating frugally. Then the doctor complained about carpal tunnel syndrome. Too many of our children were developing, weak backs. They were developing pains in their wrists. I know of a Bangalore firm, a Japanese firm, which spends huge sums of money to develop chairs, special chairs to support the backs of their computer workers. who sit for long hours. It's really high-tech stuff. They don't want their staff to get back injuries. Then we complained about their eyes would go weak, watching too much screen. They would be sleep deprived because it affects sleep. Then of course there was the usual pornography. The kids would start looking at sites that were objectionable. And addiction is another thing. We get addicted to anything. And once we get addicted to it, it takes more and more and more to satisfy that craving. Then there was the whole issue of online bullying and cyberbullying, a loss of privacy. Also, sifting news. What was fake news? What was the real facts? The kids out there had too much of the truth shoved into their faces, and some of these facts were not ready for. It was like a mind-blowing period of too much information at too young an age. Then they would forget passwords and they would lose documents. They didn't know where they saved these documents. Then, of course, there was this boy-girl chat that used to go on. Pictures were shared. We had a big case in our school where, the cops came in and there was objectionable pictures being put around, child trafficking, the whole idea of the pedophiles out there. And recently, the Delhi sexual harassment case, the boys' locker room incident, which was actually every parent's nightmare. Then, our children use phones and Facebook and Instagram to communicate. This is the way our modern children communicate. But there are monsters. They're exposed to monsters that they cannot see. And this is what we have to be careful of. Also, there's this whole complaint about, too much computer time encourages excess consumerism. They want all that they see, all that's out there. It also encourages gender bias in the way we advertise. But also, apart from all these dangers, there's also another reason. Their teaching styles, they would have to be more interactive, more questioning. All their old teacher training would have to be thrown out of the window, and new ways of teaching would have to be adopted. Now, every age, I've said this before, every age has a certain knowledge base that we have to go with. The Bronze Age, then we tamed the horse, there was the discovery of agriculture, the ships came into our lives, maps became important, industrial revolution and minerals, then the discovery of gunpowder, and recently, of course, the oil and the atomic power generation. And now we are now into a digital generation, the IT, the robotics, the artificial intelligence. And we have to now get into what the world is changing into. If we don't help our children develop this, what are we doing? If education is training our children for a new world tomorrow, then we have to prepare these children to go into a world that is going to have digital and computers. That is what education is all about. Now, imagine if in the days of colonization, everyone was looking for colonies, ships were the big thing. Imagine if you told a kid, no, there's no need to go around searching for the spices and there's no need to go for colonies. It would be putting people back. That would not be a forward-looking education. Now, the world of tomorrow is the world of information technology. And I feel a bit anachronistic when I say this, because the digital age has been upon us for a long time. In almost 2 decades, I've been using, digital banking. I've ordered food, I've booked tickets, I've ordered cabs online. So even a person at my age, I have taken to the digital age. How much more will our children want to use it? Now, the COVID-19 has only expedited the onset of the digital tsunami, to take a term from an earlier webinar. What would students have done without the access to digital learning? They would have had actually a 0 year academically, sitting at home, obviously studying on their own, reading and playing, not bad things in themselves, but they would have lacked the guidance and some of their lessons that those teachers are putting online. This is where Notebook came into it and came in and filled that lacuna that the children were looking for. It filled that gap of digital learning. What would happen if there was no digital learning? Now, teachers and school administrators have worked round the clock to bring online learning to millions of children. And this is where, the children really have benefited. I know a lot of students who have learned coding, they've done fitness, they've done cooking, music, they've done so many things in the last 6 months, all thanks to digital availability. Everything's out there. Let's look at some of the benefits of using the computer in the right way. There's so much self-study, so much research possibilities. The IB exams are so dependent on the flipped class method, where students need to learn before the lesson. You have access to the World Wide Web. There is no need to read newspapers and libraries anymore, and visit libraries. They do their college applications. They do online courses and MOOCs. There's a flood of data information out there. There is the ease of shopping, banking, booking, and doing business. So many new startups have begun from home. This is the power of the internet. There is personalized study and independent learning. Now, what is really required is not to feel afraid of the misuse of the internet, but to put education on the right ways of using it. Parents must be more involved with what their children are watching. It's not just good enough to buy them a laptop and forget about their responsibilities. I think a parent and teacher's responsibility goes much beyond that. It's like giving a kid a car and a gun without teaching them how to handle it. Now, we can put into place safety norms, awareness of dangers. We can have workshops on cyber security by experts on the field to teach children the dangers of the irresponsible use of the internet. We must teach our children how to be responsible for their internet identities, as people will judge them by every selfie, comment, or anything that they put out on the web. And being street smart and teaching our children to be street smart is not a bad thing here. I tell my children that, look, whatever you put on Facebook, colleges in the US are looking at Facebook accounts. They're going to gauge you and judge you by what you put out there. And they were really scared about that. In school, we put up firewalls. We used to screen their laptops. We used to take laptop checks. We would go into their lockers. But what's the point of all that? I gave out so many yellow cards. I confiscated personal dongles and pen drives. I often would discover pornography on these pen drives and burn them. But it was of no use. I had to change from a policeman to a counselor. I learned that trust in the children was far better than just banning and prohibiting things. It doesn't work in the long run. So no matter how many barriers we put up for the misuse of internet, children are smarter than us and they will circumvent these. And when the teacher is one step always behind the class, we see it as rules being broken. But for them, it's their very survival in the world of tomorrow. Now, in every school council that we had in my last school, there was always one point on the agenda which said, more internet time, sir. Can we have more laptops, sir? Can we have more laptop time, sir? And initially, it was always no, no, no. But gradually, we began to say yes, because we saw the point of view. And it was my generation that developed computers. And the same generation of baby boomers were preventing the generation Y from using it. It just didn't make sense. Now, we are all deeply entrenched in the digital age. As I said, from hotel bookings to smart cabs to tickets to drones, everything is there, out there. Just because we are afraid of misuse doesn't mean that we need to ban it. I know we had a long discussion at my school once where we wanted to ban midterm treks. This is something that our school was famous for. Our students went out on the mountains in groups of 5 and more. And of course, some of them misused it. They would smoke and they would, watch movies and not do the treks that they promised to do. But what is the point of banning something good just because a few people misuse it? And so I think banning is out. A total laissez-faire policy should also be out. But a middle path of controlled usage with a lot of counseling, openness, trust, and the faith in the internet and our students is the way forward. I hope I have made some sense on this. Thank you very much. Shuvayu, over to you.
Thank you so much, sir. As always, listening to you speak about these topics with your wealth of experience is always a treat. With that, ladies and gentlemen, we move to our next speaker for the day. It is our privilege to introduce to you Ms. Reeta Bhargava. Ms. Bhargava is the founder principal of the Maheswari Public School, Pratapnagar, Jaipur. She has a long, rich wealth of educational experience with 27 years of teaching tenure. She received the Bhagwan Srinath Samman by Avantika Group Intellectuals for promoting students to participate in essay competitions. She was felicitated by the Rajasthan Board of Secondary Education for her contribution in International IT Conference. She received the Vivekanand Samman for services in the field of education by the Rajasthan Yuva Chhatra Samman. She got certificates of honor from various agencies for her school's achievements, and she received appreciation certificates for 2 years from MHRD for outstanding board results of the school. She spoke as a resource person in a state-level conference organized by the Kendriya Vidyalaya Sangathan for English teachers on teaching of poetry in classroom and how to develop proficiency in spoken English at KV4 Jaipur. She conducted a 21-day training program for teachers of a newly established school in Jaipur, highlighting spoken English, classroom situations, and rapport with the parents. She conducted a week-long program for English teachers working in schools under ECMS flagship during summer break last year. She conducted workshops for KVs in-service training program organized in summer vacation. She conducted workshop as CBSE resource person on classroom management, gender sensitivity, communication skills, and other topics for Jaipur schools. She also conducted a workshop for staff of SV Public School on preparing a blueprint and setting up question papers. She conducted workshops on various themes as proposed for leading publishing houses. She is a celebrated resource person with CBSE and other agencies. Ma'am, it is our pride and privilege to have you with us. Over to you.
Thank you.
Ma'am, we can't hear or see you. If you could please check. Ms. Bhargava, ma'am, are you there?
Sir?
Ma'am, I think there's a connection problem because your audio is cutting in and out.
Hello. Am I audible to you, sir?
Yes, ma'am, I can hear you now, but I can't see your camera yet.
Okay. All right. Some problem with the laptop.
Yeah. Now I can see the camera. I can hear the audio. Thank you.
Okay. All right. Good. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Yes, ma'am, over to you.
Good evening, viewers. It's my proud privilege to be a part of your mission during these trying times. It's been great learning throughout. I've been attending your programs very regularly. About today, digital uses and abuses, with special reference to learning process. I remember, if I go down the memory lane, since the advent of IT revolution, experts kept talking about technology in education. Perhaps We were reluctant to bring it into force. And look at the scene today. We are pushed to the brink. Actually, we are living in a digital era. Our children are digital natives who find it easy to create and consume content on screen rather than print. Education is changing. Learning process is changing. Students have various devices to use. It is our responsibility to make them understand the power of technology beyond Facebook. Gone are those days when teachers taught with one size fit all idea, like a sage on the stage. Monotony was never liked then also. Technology gifted us smartboards that added flavor to everything. That is teaching learning process. With this background, we stepped into these unprecedented times. And we all have felt, if we teach today as we taught yesterday, we rob our children of tomorrow. When we stepped into the year 2020, it brought all good hopes for us, for all of us. But we never imagined how would it unfold. These unprecedented times have affected nature, health, business, economy, and have affected education in its worst manner. And a new revolution has taken place in the field of education. It is digital transformation, which was a challenge for all of us. Because at the time when doctors were busy saving the world, teachers were busy shaping the future. We all took this situation in a challenging manner, and we rose to the situation. We felt the nerve. And if I talk about the experience at my school, I would say that we came into action very fast. And it was on 25th of March, that is Navratri, when we began with our crusade against this COVID-19 and making our children comfortable. We started sending offline content in the form of videos, worksheets, slides, and PPTs to our children of all classes. And then it was on 2nd of April that we started our online classes for classes 9th to 12th with proper timetable, with proper training of the teachers, classroom rules for the students, etc. We also took parents into confidence and we got ourselves ready for this trying time. Initially, we checked whether we were successful with classes 9 to 12, and then we started with classes 6 to 8. After that, we again checked our success and then moved on to classes 6 to 8, and then to primary classes. After that, And we felt that this communication where students were used to using digital media, we were able to communicate in a good manner. Though there were some hiccups, which I'm going to talk about, but overall, we were successful. In the meantime, because it was little challenging and there was all about uncertainties, we declared our summer holidays. And during these holidays, we made use of the time that was given to us. Once again, we were on move, and I personally started sending stories to my children to take care of them, especially their mental well-being. We celebrated various days like Mother's Day, Father's Day, Earth Day, Environment Day. And we also began with our classes on non-academic subjects. That is, we organized yoga classes for our children. We organized fine arts classes for our children. We started organizing PhD classes for our children, wherein our PhD teachers, they were making videos and sending them to the children. And children enjoyed. And not only children, their parents also enjoyed with them. Then, towards the end of these summer holidays, we conducted life skills training for our children for 10 days. And we got an overwhelming response. We were sending videos, worksheets to our children, and we were asking them to respond to our call. Children were responding, and we were feeling that we were successful. This gave us a lot of boost, and we understood that digital technology or use of technology in teaching learning process is a real boon. We could gather the attention of the children. We also could motivate them. Their participation was to the maximum. And when we asked them to take the tests on Google Form in various methods, it is that we came to know that their achievements were also quite encouraging. And this actually proved that we were successful. And teachers became rather experts in technology, which they were hesitating earlier. But we all know that technology cannot replace teachers. And those teachers who don't use technology, they also cannot survive. So this is one lesson that we have learned in a better manner, that we need to use technology. There were certain issues with the screen time of the children, and especially the parents were very apprehensive about things. First of all, it was for the smaller children that they were concerned with screen time. And we reduced the screen time by limiting the classes and giving the children podcast, sending podcasts to those children who were unable to be balanced with real world experience. Addiction of teens with technology, like FOMO and FOBO. We were aware of this concept also, fear of missing out or fear of being alone. But we made them understand that we should use it for education, creativity, cognitive enhancement rather than virtual experiences. And we all know that our children were earlier busy with this virtual experience only. They never felt that this small mobile, this small handset could be used for education also. If they had to choose, they were rather reluctant and they rather postponed it, but always engaged themselves in various other things that they wanted to do with this handset. Access points we had to check. We even informed the parents, guided and counseled them to be careful, because these access points, if are very easy, then children, of course, develop dependence on technology. Because there is no seamless connectivity throughout the country, and nobody could imagine that this would be a situation. Problem of device and network issues during the lockdown period. We faced such issues also, but now it is all. Also came across the issues like office going parents and along with some health issues. But wherever there is a good mission, we are successful.
Check the mouse. Where is the mouse?
Ms. Bhargav, ma'am, I think there are some issues with your connectivity because we are seeing that your audio is cutting in and out. Ma'am, I think there's an issue with your connectivity because the audio seems very disturbed. Would you want us to pause and come back to you later if you are in a better connected place?
Just a minute, I will actually.
Sure, ma'am.
Just yeah. Is it okay now? Is it okay
yes,
now?
Yes, ma'am. Better.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So, teachers who use technology frequently to support learning in their classrooms report greater benefits to student learning, engagement and skills from technology than teachers who spend less time using technology to support learning. We also realize how to handle these issues. See, there were issues that were related to learning, and we modified our ways. There were health-related issues. We tried to resolve them through diversion of mind and teaching them some relaxation techniques. There were some issues related to availability, and there we gave them personal touch so that their problems were solved. I would just give you one example here, that when we received mails about the availability of devices and network and all, then our teachers rather help these children by giving them some personalized worksheets and podcasts and videos so that these children could also study. So in this way, we were able to actually sort out the things that came our way. What we now feel as to the path is very long. Nobody knows how and when our children are going to come to school. So we are in the process of devising our own plans in order to be successful and, of course, not to block or blot this path that we have traveled so far. We have realized that technology has made learning very easy, interactive, and interesting. We've also realized that the smart boards that we were using in our classrooms, mobile phones have taken their place. And I will share with everybody here that our teachers are taking their classes of these smart boards in the school itself. We worked from home for a long time. Now we are working from school. It's only that our children are not there, but and our children can see us, we can see them. So it's all a very good learning experience, and it's a matter of great satisfaction for all of us that we are in this journey together. Teachers are of learning, unlearning, relearning. And in the times to come also, we will have to adopt these ways only to help ourselves out. It is that the training of teachers and that is very important, and we are able to do that. We are trying to form a fist with 5 different fingers. We've been successful up till now, and we see to it, are thinking that we will be successful in the times to come also. We do feel that technology will never replace us, but technology in the hands of creators is transformational. And I feel little elated when I share that transformation in our schools, where we have been very active vis-a-vis learning process. And it is that we are now on our march to even include art integrated learning and various other pedagogies that we need to use in our classrooms in order to make our children comfortable. For example, flipped classroom, for example, blended learning, collaboration, then discussion, and various other things. I thank you all for giving me this opportunity to present a little bird's eye view of the entire thing that we did at our school and tried to contribute towards teaching learning process that got hampered with the declaration of lockdown. And amidst all these uncertainties, how we tried, how we came back to be successful. Thank you all. Thank you.
Bhargav ma'am, thank you so much for taking out the time to ensure that you could speak to all of us. It was heartening to hear your experience at how your school overcame the challenges, especially during this COVID-19 lockdown. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that with us.
Yeah.
With that, ladies and gentlemen, we would perhaps do a little deeper a dive into today's topic, which is the digital use and abuse, with our next speaker. Our next speaker is Achin Bhattacharyya. Achin is the founder and CEO of Notebook. A chartered accountant by training, he was working as a director at Deloitte prior to starting Notebook. He has worked in India and abroad in various senior capacities in GE, PwC, KPMG, and Deloitte. Achin is an avid reader and a passionate traveler with a keen interest in economics, history, literature, and philosophy. He is a regular speaker at various forums and chambers of commerce. and also contributes articles to numerous publications regularly. He is also on the board of some of the most renowned corporates and contributes significantly to brand strategies. And just as Bhargav ma'am was saying just now, Achin is the one who stresses the belief that as notebook, as technology, we are not looking to replace teachers, but just augment their efforts. Achin, on that note, over to you.
Good evening, everyone. Shubha, am I audible?
Yeah, Achin, loud and clear.
I again welcome all of you to today's session on a topic which is not only contemporary, but also more pertinent than ever in this hour of pandemic, when all of us have adapted to a digital way of life. There's no denying the fact that the internet has brought the world much closer than ever. Flow of information is seamless, real-time, and democratic. Thus, it is possible for everyone to have access to any information, and thus, if someone is keen to learn, then nothing can stop him. Thus, whether it be education or medical research or newsroom feeds or virtual offices, where people are working from their homes, sitting in different corners of the world, the contribution of digital technology in every aspect of our lives cannot be denied. Now, although the net impact of technology is positive, the challenges that originate cannot be completely ignored, especially with regard to children. Today's topic, digital use and abuse. When I reflect on this, if I come to the use part, I'm sure all of us can speak on this particular aspect for hours. We all understand the benefits. We all understand that undoubtedly the contribution of digital technology to our lives is immense. So I'll choose to focus more on the other aspect, the abuse part, with an objective to ensure that all of us, while we understand the benefits, while we understand, the fact that we need to drive, but let's put our seatbelts on. So on that note, all over the world, children spend countless hours online, posting to social networks, online gaming, and even just watching videos. The more alarming part about this is that many of these children are receiving their own personal devices now as early as 6 or 7 years old. In 2010, Steve Jobs, when he was releasing the iPad, described the iPad as a device that was extraordinary. The best browsing experience you ever had, way better than a laptop, way better than a smartphone. It's an incredible experience, were his exact words, to quote him. A couple of months later, he was approached by a journalist from the New York Times, and they had a long conversation. At the end, the journalist threw in a question. He asked him, "Your kids must love the iPad." There's an obvious answer to this, but what Jobs said really staggered the journalist. He was very surprised because he said, "They haven't used it. We limit how much technology our kids use at home." This is a very common thing in the tech world. In fact, there's a school quite near Silicon Valley called the Waldorf School of the Peninsula, and they don't introduce screens until 8th grade. What's really interesting about the school is that 75% of the kids who go there have parents who are high-level Silicon Valley tech executives. School has smart classes, but personal devices, any kind of personal devices, are not entertained till the time kids reach 8th grade. So that speaks volumes, right? When you take into consideration the most recent census, for instance, in United States, that records over 21 million children in US under the age of 5. And you look at the research that says 85% of American parents have allowed these young children to go online weekly, and in many cases daily, since infancy. It means that in US alone, there are more than 17 million children growing up endlessly connected to technology, right? And we are discussing about children under the age of 5. So that's scary. So when we overlay this excessive use of technology at this critical developmental period of children and their developing brains, it begs the question, could we potentially be creating a new generation of addicts? Let's take a look at the science. This is how a healthy brain looks like. The red portions are the dopamine receptors. If you see the brain of a drug addict, the dopamine receptors are significantly reduced vis-a-vis those in a healthy brain. Now, most people still consider dopamine to be that neurochemical that makes us feel good, but scientists today understand that dopamine has more to do with motivation and reinforcement in our brain's reward center. You can kind of think of it as a do it again system rather than a feel good system. An addict's brain is motivating them to do it again and again. So that's called the trap that they get into. But even natural rewards, like eating, for instance, produce the same neurochemical response. Food, same neurochemical response. The difference is, with drugs, our brain is flooded up with up to 10 times more dopamine, which leads the user to repeat that behavior again and again. And it leaves more natural rewards feeling inadequate in comparison. So let's look at what it is to be a technology addict, right? So first we discussed about a normal brain, then we discussed about a drug addict, and now we come to our topic of discussion, addiction to technology. So when we compare them next to the healthy brain, the damage is obvious, because the technology addict or the drug addict example, so there's a parallel damage which is indisputable. So what does this all mean for us? Well, we are all wired to seek reward, and the tech companies, they now understand how to tap into our primal drives. Companies have begun hiring neuroscientists and behaviorists to work along with their programmers to develop products that keep users hooked. It has gone beyond the goal of merely producing useful products to the point where they are actively seeking ways to keep us all endlessly connected. And if that corporate strategy sounds familiar, it's because it is. A famous US comedian recently said, Philip Morris, as you all know, is a tobacco division of American Tobacco Company. Philip Morris only wanted your lungs. The App Store wants your soul. I think we can all agree that addiction is complicated. It involves a relationship between a chemical or a behavior in concert with genetics, learning, or the environment. Now, microstructure abnormalities is a phrase that should stand out to all of us. There are hundreds of studies in development right now by scientists who are trying to find out answers to provide us all the guidance. Substance addiction is more easily understood because when we take something into our body, we can feel it make a difference. But with behavioral addictions, it's that much harder to identify because there's no substance and consequently that much harder to understand. When we are talking about addiction, what we are really talking about is our brain's struggle for self-control, inability to control ourselves, right? So if we are able to avoid the substance or the behavior when it's causing us problems, great, we have no addiction issue. But when we lose control and it starts to impact our relationships, our work, our school, our self-esteem, or even our emotional stability, then the vicious circle of addiction begins. So now, if you look at this slide, something very interesting. There are 3 reference points: 2007, 2015, and 2017. The various activities that we are involved in on a day-to-day basis. If you see, the timeshare of these activities have more or less been constant. For instance, 8.5 to 9 hours sleep. For instance, on average, 9.5 to 10 hours of working day, say at office, at work from home, etc. Around 3 hours of survival activities, getting ready, getting your kids ready, etc. And if you look at the red portion, that's the time devoted to technology. And the white portion is me time. This is the time when we pursue our hobbies, our interest, our passion. And at the flag end of life, when we sit back and reflect on the good old days, trust me, it's only the white portion that brings a smile to our face, right? Smile to our lips, only the white portion. So the white portion is shrinking. And why is the white portion shrinking? Because the red portion, the technology portion, is clearly eating into a white portion. We all understand this. 24/7, we are hooked on to our smartphones. So this is what technology does to us. And slowly, the last 2017, if you see, the small yellow portion, that actually is the white one, has shrunk to an all-time low. So what do we do? If you get a cue about what to do from Western Europe, where they seem to have a number of pretty good ideas in the workplace. Here's one example. There's a Dutch design firm, and what they have done is rig their desks into the ceiling at 6 p.m. every day. It doesn't matter who you are emailing or what you are doing, the desk rises to the ceiling. So people are sitting and working, 6 o'clock, get down from your chairs, the chairs will rise and touch the ceiling. Why? The floor is used for various activities like dance, yoga, etc. Take your pick. At Daimler, the German car company, they have got another great strategy. When you go on vacation, instead of saying the person's on vacation, they will get back to you eventually. Like that's normally an out of office mail, right? Which says that you're on vacation and you're sorry for it, your apology. Once you come back, you'll get back. What they say is this person is on vacation, so we have deleted your email. This person will never see the email you just sent. Unimaginable, right? Next line says you can email back in a couple of weeks, or you can email someone else. You can imagine what that's like. You go on vacation and you are actually on vacation. The people who work at this company feel that they actually get a break from work. But of course, that doesn't tell us much about what we should do at home in our own lives. So I want to make some suggestion. It's easy, right? So it's very easy to say that between 5 to 6 p.m. I'll not use my phone. The problem is 5 p.m. and 6 p.m. looks different on different days. On certain days, you may be terribly busy, very tied up, right? So forget 5 or 6. Even there are days when at 10 p.m. or 11 p.m. you're hooked onto your phone. I think a far better strategy is to say, I do certain things every day. There are certain occasions that happen every day, like for instance, eating dinner. So if you never use phone at the table, and for that it has to be far away, far away, as far as possible. Because we are really bad at resisting temptation. And as the earlier speaker also mentioned, that feeling of missing out, FOMO, as we call it, it hurts. At least initially, it hurts terribly. So, what's the take home here? Screens are miraculous. We all understand. We love our phones, right? I've already said that. And I feel that it's true. But the way we use them is not like driving down a really fast, long road. And you're in a car where the accelerator is mashed to the floor. It's kind of hard to reach the brake pedal. You have got a choice. You can either glide by, say, the beautiful ocean scenes and take snaps out of the window. That's the easy thing to do. Or you can go out of your way to move the car to the side of the road, to push that brake pedal, to get out, take your shoes and socks, take a couple of steps onto the sand, feel what the sand feels like under your feet, walk to the ocean, and let the ocean lap at your ankles. Your life will be richer and more meaningful because you breathe in that experience and because you have left your phone in the car, the most important part. Now, I'll tell you an incident. And when I tell this incident to you, it literally brings tears to my eyes. And as a part of the civil society, all of our heads hang in shame when we discuss this. This happened in Argentina, 2011. Very shameful and unfortunate incident. An 11-year-old girl had been a victim of online abuse. A man manipulated her. How did he manipulate? By using a fake profile, coming across as someone of her age. Many of these stalkers, they have multiple fake profiles. He manipulated her and took some objectionable videos and pictures through her webcam and recorded them. And the videos were on several websites. Her life was exposed. It's unimaginable, right? 11-year-old little girl. She goes to school. Her classmates who play with her may have seen the video. Our head hangs in shame. It's disgusting. Nobody harmed her physically. But is this not abuse? I think this is the worst form of abuse that someone can be subjected to, and let alone an 11-year-old girl. In today's age, we give kids total access. We believe that they know all about technology, right? So we give them total access to technology. And we see if one day, sooner or later, they learn how to take care of themselves. At times, this is dangerous, right? For instance, after dinner, the kid goes into his room, his or her room, locks the door, and is on net. And all of us, we think or we feel that everything which happens online is virtual. So he or she can't be harmed because they are in the safe confines of their home. But we are terribly wrong. It's as dangerous as for an 11 or 12-year-old as walking into a bar or pub at midnight. Maybe more dangerous than that. Much more dangerous. Knowing how to do something is one thing. Knowing how to take care of yourself is another. Along those same lines, if you talk to any parent, they often say they don't care about technology and social networks. So at that time, we should ask them if they care about their kids. As adults, being interested or not in technology is the same as being interested or not in our kids. The internet, we need to come to terms with the fact that the internet is part of their lives, right? Technology forces us to rethink the relationship between adults and kids. See, we as a generation, we have seen technology evolving in front of our eyes. We were not born into a world where there was internet and Facebook. Today's kids, they are born into a generation where they take these things for granted. It's a part of their life. Now, unless until as parents, as adults, we are not conversant with technology. How do we understand them? Education was always based on two main concepts, experience and knowledge. How do we teach our kids to be safe online when we don't have either experience or knowledge? Thus, nowadays, we adults have to guide our children through what is often for us unfamiliar territory much more inviting for them. It's impossible to find an answer without doing new things that make us uncomfortable, things we are not used to. But we need to take the challenge and learn so as to understand them better. And there's no reason why we can't at any age. Today, we have the chance to create new conversations with our children. What's the last app you downloaded? Which social network do you use to contact your friends? What kind of information do you share? Have you ever been approached by strangers? Could we have these conversations between kids and adults? We have to force ourselves to do it, all of us. Today, lot of kids, sometimes when we go to, everywhere you see, the kids need not know what the risk of being online are, how to take care of themselves, but also, so these are things that we need to talk to them. What are the risks? How to take care of themselves? And we cannot shy away from these conversations. And just like anything else, kids can learn this from us adults. In a popular article, Facebook Vice President of User Growth comments. This comment was, there are a lot of articles about this, Chamat Palifatya. He said, the short-term dopamine-driven feedback loops we have created are destroying how society works. No civil discourse, no cooperation, misinformation, mistruth. And it's not an American problem. This is not about Russian ads. This is a global problem. So Facebook Vice President says that this is a global, and indeed this is a global problem, right? So I'd say in many ways, we are being programmed to become citizens of one common world, quite with some great boons and perhaps some great pitfalls. It's important to ensure a balanced use of technology. Let's not forget the flavors of old notes and libraries, the smell of new books and new paper. Let's not forget about the offline highs that still bring the same color to our lives: sports, adventure, good movies, and great songs that have consistently stood as building blocks of our forefathers. As I said at the beginning, the advantages of digital technology are immense. And even a full day session is not enough. We all understand the advantages, especially during this hour of pandemic. If I come to the education sector, the way digital education has come in, it is really ensured that although schools are closed, schooling is on. So the advantages are tremendous, enormous. The way I look at it, the need of the hour is to strike a balance. When we understand that audiovisual as a medium is attractive, when we understand our children, irrespective of what we want, will want their own share of screen time, let's ensure that they're exposed to content which is good for them. When we understand that this is something that we cannot do away with, what we really need to do is built in checks and measures, which should not at the surface look like policing. The objective is not to police them. The objective is to take care of them. to be with them. And also to ensure, as I said, since audiovisual or digital is inevitable, let's ensure that we expose them to content which are good for them. For instance, the way digital education has come in during this pandemic, ensuring 24/7 access to quality content, which serves as a basis for engaging discussion that teachers can take things to the next level. I think that is the ideal mix, which all of us should aspire to. On that note of optimism, I thank all of you for giving me a very patient hearing. Over to you, Shubhayu.
Thank you, Achin. Thank you for that wonderful and detailed exposure on this topic, digital use and abuse. I'm sure everybody listening to us is taking your words to heart. With that, ladies and gentlemen, it is now time to introduce to you our next speaker. We will learn from eminent educators what they have done in their schools on tackling the problems of digital abuse. Our next speaker is Mr. Mahesh Iyer. Mr. Iyer is the principal of the Bhavan's Smart Indian School in Kuwait. He believes that the best way to find yourself is to devote yourself in the service of others in being humane. Mr. Iyer is a postgraduate in botany, has a B.Ed and an MPhil from Mumbai University. He has authored many research papers and articles on environmental chaos and other topics. He has a teaching experience of 20 years in schools and colleges in Mumbai, Maharashtra. He worked as a principal in ICSE and IGCSE schools in Mumbai for the past 12 years and got training in IIM Kolkata for successful school management. His strengths are that he is a passionate and innovative teacher, an effective counselor, a public speaker, a motivator, a strong team builder, and a visionary leader. He is a soft-spoken, easily approachable, somebody who keeps his doors open for any creative and critical thinking and understands the pulse of the needy. He is also a yoga teacher and practitioner, an ardent musician devoted to music therapy for spreading peace and harmony through serving others. He has won many laurels for public speaking and in the field of music. He is a stout believer of music being the medicine for all miseries. He is a learned classical singer with many stage shows and albums to his credit. He is a successful Toastmaster. He has won Competent Communicator Award, Advanced Leadership Bronze and Silver Award, Advanced Communicator Bronze, Silver and Gold Awards. He joined as a principal at the Bhavan Smart Indian School, Kuwait in September 2016. He conducts motivational talks and workshops in Kuwait and in-house and outdoor training for the trainers. A couple of special awards that he would like us to mention. One is the Best Educator Award in 2002 by Akhil Rajasthan Sarva Bahaman Mahasabha, and also the Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam Outstanding Principal Award 2019 by Himakshara in Port Blair. Mr. Iyer, it is indeed our privilege to have you with us today. Over to you, sir.
Thank you very much, Mr. Subhayu. Can I share? Yeah. A very warm good evening to all the entire August God gathering. With your permission, let us all pray for the sacrifices done by many people for the nation who lost their lives, even due to yesterday's plane accident. And many militants, many pilots, those who sacrificed their lives, the people who sacrificed their lives due to Corona. Everything has its own meaning. Let us pray at least for 1 minute in silence, with your permission, sir. May God bless each one of us. Thank you very much. Can you see my PPT? And am I audible?
So we can hear you. We can see your PPT. We are
Right.
seeing it in the uh, edit mode. In case you want to go full screen or in a presentation mode, we will be able to see that as well.
All right, so thank you very much.
You're welcome, sir.
Digital technology, use and abuse. We are just living in the technological era. So we know both these words and we use this as educators mostly every day. Nothing more to pen or to say new, but let us see some kind of difference in this discussion. Dream, dream, dream. Dream transforms into thoughts, and thoughts result in action. My all-time mentor's words always echo in my heart and mind and body, always. That is why the meaning for dream came. One fine morning, a child goes to his grandmother and asks that, Mama, how can I grow a huge tree of mango? Grandmother, with her baby face, she says, come, I will show you the secret success of life. She showed the seed of the mango and she said, can you just dream that you are inside this seed? You are going to grow to a successful human being. And by that time, you should think that you were in the seed. Each plant grows from the seed, but nobody can even imagine, visualize that this small palm, we can easily keep the seed in my palm. This occupied small seed can grow to a huge size and give millions and millions of fruits, satisfying millions and millions of people all over the world. It gives shades to many of the people. But can we imagine that all this information is stored in the small seed? Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for listening to me. And thank you, Notebook team and all the viewers. But this technology has originated long, long back. The idea of technology came from the grandmother. All and everybody has this idea of technology. And long back, one scientist predicted that technology starts with telepathy. If anything happens to our beloved, we feel it. No media required. That was called as telepathy. Telepathy is the ability to communicate without any media, understanding the phenomenon. Now that again, they have predicted that telepathy can go to electronic telepathy in future, in very near future. Again, they have predicted telepathy can be the future. And then again, the scientists predicted that we are all growing, still human beings are growing. Human beings are growing, but their brain is still evolving a lot. It is still more to evolve. We all are then, the problem in the world today cannot be solved by the level of thinking that created them. Still, the brain has a room to grow, evolve more. Once the semantic web will be opening, again that is predicted, and each one is coming to the truth. Artificial intelligence, long back, the people, they have already told people, human beings will be depending upon the technology. See the transformation which was predicted long, long back. Now it is augmented reality. We can sit anywhere and even we can feel our own people very near to us. Augmented reality. Live data can be generated anywhere, and we can use GIS and GPS for understanding where we are going. Cyborg anthropology, that means each and every information can be minimized. It can be stored in a single chip, and we can control n number of instruments anywhere sitting in the corner of any of the world. That also was predicted long back. Nanotechnology, all this information can be grown into a small piece, and that piece can be it can go into cellular level and control the commands given. Nanotechnology, all these terms were predicted long back. The future will cut out the middleman now. This also was predicted long back. And they told that in future, the future is not that far away where we communicate without any media, without any middleman. Yes, the future within 50 years will be telepathy or telekinetic. We will be informing everybody without any kind of medium in between us, and even we can send the telepathic messages, telekinetic messages to anybody sitting anywhere in the world. The evolution in technology was predicted. That was a transformation. But now, even though we have already transformed to this level, let us know the basic things. It's already been discussed with many of the speakers. Let us know what is digital technology. The technology is something, it's a device. We always want to improve ourselves in all means. We want a compact technology. We want a faster, lighter, and more versatile. And huge amount of information we can store in our palm. And that is what is called as digital technology. Digital technology, the tool, we know that. But what is digital media? There is a slight hairline difference between digital technology and digital media. Technology is a tool, whereas the media is the outcome. The digital video games are there, web pages are there, social media, electronic documents. These are digital media. Ladies and gentlemen, many of them, they don't know what are there are three types of digital media. Paid media, where the people, they pay for it and get the goods sold. It's called as paid media. For example, digital display ads, advertisements. Paid search and native advertisements. What all kind of advertisements coming in between? Even though we watch videos in YouTube, in between we get different kinds of media. Paid media, it is called as. Earned media is one online word-to-word mouth. The content get picked up by the third party also. Marketing media, they earn from that. And owned media also is there, where we are the owners of that. We can make our own website, blogs, social media account. Three types of digital media. And we all know the benefits of digital technology. Even sitting here, every day we can see, we can even feel our own people, social connectivity, communication speed, very fast we can communicate with them. We can use it for any kind of purposes. It can be speaking, it can be even showing some kind of talents or connecting with anybody. Sitting here now, we can easily post our CV to anybody, and we can even give the opportunity for working. Automation, information storage, any kind of information can be stored in a small chip, and we can easily carry on with us. Editing will be accurate because there'll be spell checks. And any number of, we can duplicate, GPS, transformation. Even though we do all these things, the cost is very low also. That is why it is something attracting for us. Entertainment, wherever we sit, we can go to the news. That is why immediately, without wasting much of time, yesterday's accident, we got it in our television, we got it in our mobiles, updations. Even want to have a conflict, warfare also, we can do that. Banking, finance, and smaller size devices we always carry in our palm. We can easily close the palm with a small chip, and we can say that the entire world is in my palm. Transformation has happened a lot, and yet to happen it. We know that a beautiful butterfly, it will be coming from a pupa. In between, there will be a caterpillar. which will be eating more leaves and turning into a beautiful butterfly. This is how we have to have our lifespan also. Even if we come out of the pupa, because without it taking any pain, that butterfly cannot come up. The same way, we also should have that kind of pain. We should not forget the pains that our forerunners have taken. Yes, transformation. Technological transformation can happen even in the genetic level. We can manipulate any kind of genetic constitution from any kind of bacteria. And it is said that even this hero of nowadays, that is Corona, also is a transformation. It is a kind of incision and manipulation of the genetical material. That is why some people, they say that now it's proved also that it is a kind of bioweapon. Digital transformation has already happened, my dear ladies and gentlemen. Now we know that now we cannot go back. Even though it was predicted a lot, even now our Prime Minister also has predicted, and he has already declared that let us not go back. Let us be in the present and let us think more and let us be friends with the modern technology. Here, because of even before this declaration, we were the first school here in Kuwait start with all kind of digital devices. We have done all the functions during this Corona crisis, everything A to Z. It can be, it is a kind of environmental friendly International Environment Day. KG, see the KG students sitting in front of, and even in this digital era, we inculcated the sense of the value of praying. Prayer gives us more strength at this age, using that online classes. KG Family Day, they should know what is a family. And definitely the value of labor. We respect the laborers. Virtual Labor Day also we are connected. Mother's Day, Father's Day, and even Eid Mubarak, No Tobacco Day, World Nurses Day. We all know that how much these nurses and doctors and medical professionals and even the cleaners, they are devoting much of their lives for eradicating Corona. Everything we have done online. Investiture ceremony was done. Father's Day, and even virtual interactive session with the people who are staying far away. Again, proper use of technology. How we can engage these kids and fathers and mothers, also equally important for that. We made them also to participate how to make a lemonade, how to decorate, and how we can have a healthy salad day, environment friendly day. And we have not kept any stone untouched. International Yoga Day, we performed, and the students also performed. And in-house staff training every day, almost every week, we used to have this kind of a staff training too. International French Day, everything that means technology, maximum use of technology we have done. My dear ladies and gentlemen, here we should understand that even though we are techno-savvy, and we are trying to make ourselves techno-savvy, the other side of the coin says how people are misusing it. That is part of the technology. Everything depends upon us how to use and how to misuse, which can be abused later on. Digital abuse is nothing but it is a kind of harassment. Digital abuse can also accompany other forms of domestic violence, psychological, physical, or sexual abuse from their partners. What are the signs? This duty, this role goes to the teacher, educator, parents, and definitely the friends too. The signs of digital abuse is bullying and harassment, monitoring and stacking, sexual coercions, possessiveness and control. Everything ultimately gives a setback to the psychological development of the child. If we observe any kind of this signs in any of our kids, any of our friends, please take care of it. What we can do, we are going to discuss it now. How to protect it? Avoid using old computers and old devices. Disable or remove any geolocation apps. Change the passwords and pins frequently. Create new email accounts, separating your communication and accounts and financial accounts. If you have existing social media accounts, change your password and private security settings to control it. Yes, these are the protective measures that we have to tell our students as well as to the grown-ups. Rather than to the students, it is very important to know, to convince them to the grown-ups. As educators, what we can do, how we can tame these young minds by giving motivational lectures, being friendly, and even the curriculum also. It is now declared that let us have a modern pedagogy with art integration, music integration, and even any kind of artificial technologies can be integrated with our pedagogy and curriculum. Let us have human value integration pedagogy, human value integration curriculum. That is what we are missing if we are completely techno savvy. Let us inculcate these 10 universal values, human values, in our pedagogy, in our curriculum, and definitely inculcating these will give us a long lasting result on the students. Dears, if we have this power of self-realization, as the grandma told, that entire image, entire information of the huge tree is stored in a small seed. We, as each individual, have got every information within our brain, and that is what is called a self-realization. For that, we have to sit quietly for a moment. We should have a self-talk moment every day. Then we can have the self-realization. Kids and teachers love this beautiful lady, Sophia. She is a robotic teacher, but the child says, we love robotic teacher, but we want some kind of human touch also. Kids are very much suffocated only by sitting in front of a computer or laptop or in front of any kind of device to become 100% techno. They want a kind of human touch also. They want a Gurukul type of learning. What is that Gurukul type of learning? Definitely, they want somebody to be with them, always monitoring and exchanging, having that motherly touch that only teachers can give. And all the teachers, even though for whichever teachers we are interacting, they will always try to give some excuses that they are all overloaded with work, some other work. And even some of the students also will have this kind of excuses. Always show the small clippings of, if at all anybody gives any kind of excuse for any kind of work to be done. Excuses are tools of escapism.
At age 8, I thought that I should commit suicide. Why? Because I didn't have hope. So I tried to give up. At age 10, tried to drown myself in 6 inches or 15 centimeters of water. In my home, I told my dad I just wanted to relax. But really, I wanted to end my life. I had enough.
A man born without limbs, without hands, and without legs. If he can do it, why can't we do it? My dear educators, we should be very much happy to be an educator. We should thank God for each and every moment that we are living here. Even though we are making the students and the people techno-savvy, we as educator, typical educator, we should know that this small story which teaches us the values of life. Let us all be a pencil and erase. As parents, let us all feel that we all are there to erase the mistakes of our kids, erase the mistakes of other human beings. Let us all pray to God that let us have that patience and let us all have that kind of information that just a mango seed had. Thank you very much for being human. Let us teach that humane to all our students and all our peers. And then only we can have the true meaning of this technology. Let us all use the technology properly. Let us all not misuse it so that we become the person for getting abused. Special thanks to Notebook team, because one best book is equal to 100 good friends, but one good friend is equal to a library. Let us be friends with everybody. Let us not hate anybody. Let us spread the peace and harmony to each one around us. Kudos to Notebook team for giving me the chance to express my views about technology. The other side of technology is humane. Thank you for the patient listening. Thank you for being humane. Thanks a lot.
Thank you so much, sir, for that wonderful presentation. We all stand enriched thanks to your wonderful, wonderful presentation. With that, ladies and gentlemen, it is now time to introduce our next speaker. Our next speaker is Ms. Seema Kataria, who is the principal of the Ganpati Convent School at Yamunanagar. She is a forward-thinking educational leader with a positive outlook, cultivating a school climate and culture of success. She tries to provide a motivational tone for students and staff, where educational excellence is the focal point. She strongly believes that as a leader and a mentor, one should build connections and relationships with students, faculty, and parents, as they are the pillars of an institution, and once the connection is built, half the battle is won. She holds an MA in English and an MA in Education. She was associated with CBSE as a master trainer for assessment of speaking and listening skills. She was one of the core team members of the Leap Skills Academy, that is a prominent organization for providing employability skills amongst the youth of India. She was the coordinator for a teachers training cell, Train the Trainers. She has provided training and discourses to teachers in Punjab and Haryana on various modules such as such as experiential learning, classroom management, lesson planning, and many other relevant topics. Ma'am, it is our pleasure and privilege to have you with us today. Over to you.
Am I audible to you all?
Yes, ma'am, we can hear you loud and clear.
Yes. Thank you for such a lovely introduction, and I really feel honored to be a part of this webinar. And I really want to thank Mr. Mahesh for presenting us with such soothing and wonderful thoughts. And during this crisis, such thoughts really motivate us. So I would start my topic, my discourse, with one small incident. Once a farmer, he gives a handful of rice to a teacher, and he asks that how many persons can be fed with this handful of rice. You know what was the answer of the teacher? He said, hundreds and hundreds of people can be fed. His focus was 100 people. Like he said that handful of rice can be grown, can be cultivated, and people, hundreds and hundreds people can be fed with that. So let us think of those handful of rice as our students. So when we teach those handful of students, say 40 or 45 students in one class, so they are not just the students, they are 40 or 45 families. And those 45 families belong to 45 communities and society and nation. Such is the role of a teacher in our society. I'm really thankful to Team Notebook for providing me such a wonderful platform where I can share my personal experience with all like minds on a very relevant topic, that is digital technology uses and abuses. Friends, if we look back a few months ago, we were all busy in preparing for our next session, full of energy, planning new session, thinking about new ideas, curriculum, looking for new things that we'll be implementing to make our teaching, learning process more effective. And this way we were heading towards a new year. Suddenly a little virus, micro mini virus, makes an appearance and our lives come to a standstill. The major question was, what next? How to cope up with this huge crisis? The education of our children and youth was at stake. The life was completely disrupted. But thanks to technology, it came as our savior. Earlier also disasters were there, but this COVID-19, it has created a kind of digital divide. Digitally active people and digitally inactive. So being a principal of a school from rural area, my story is a bit different because I had to face a lot of challenges and I had different kinds of experiences because 90% of my students, they come from core villages. So I would like to share my personal experience that how I coped up, how I tried to cope up with this problem so that the studies of my children should not suffer. So friends, the major challenges that I faced were, the first was the rural background of the people. The people did not believe in online teaching. They had all faith on the teachers. Yes, they respect the teachers and they wanted the physical, connection. They wanted that the presence of teacher can make their children learn. So first thing was the rural background of the people. And then there was issue of internet connectivity also. People did not have that infrastructure in their house. They did not have gadgets in their house, and lack of awareness was there that how the children will be made to sit, how the children will be made to take their classes. So all were the challenges that I had to face. So how we came up, how we coped up with such situation. The first thing that I did was, I believe that training of the teachers. So right from day one, what I did, I started training of my teachers. When the lockdown was announced, I contacted the professionals and I hired them, and we started giving training to the teacher. They trained my teachers, and I must say that the teachers were so much adaptive. They were so much passionate, and they learned, they got the training, and they were well versed with the technology. And now next point was the training of the parents. The parents were motivated, they were counseled, they were guided that how we are going to start this online training and how it is going to affect the life of their students. And we had to motivate, we had to convince the parents that you have to work as an invigilators for your children. You have to work as monitors for your children. You have to monitor on the way they are taking the classes. And then there was a very effective system we came up with, that was the creating of mentoring system. Now, what we did, we just selected some of the teachers, like from there, if there was class 1. So all the teachers were teaching class 1, they were selected as mentors. And we gave groups under the charge of those mentors. And it was the duty of the mentors who would keep track of the children, who would keep talking to the parents so that they should be there whenever we were taking the classes. So when we started with our Zoom class, when we started with our online classes, so as we know that technology is like a two-way knife. If it is in the hands of a doctor, it can save the life of people. But if it is misused, definitely it can take the life of people also. So the children, they were very much excited. The classes were started, the training was over. So what happened? The students were very smart. They started using their classes. They started taking up the classes. They would sit, they would switch on the class, and they would leave the class. This was the problem that we faced. Then what happened, how we did, we just implemented one standard operating procedure. That was very useful for us. So what we did, first thing was, instead of going with Zoom classes, instead of going with online learning, we started sending videos to the students, videos of study material to the students. And the students were given time that they have to go through it, they have to read the study material, the proper time was given to them. And after that, we used to send them the study material after video. And thanks to Notebook, that the videos were really very useful for us. So the teachers would go through it, they would plan the study material, they would search videos, and they would send the study material, the pages to read after that. And after they read the pages, the students were given assignment. They were asked to watch the video first, and then they were asked to look at the study material, read the study material, and after that the assignments were given, so that the students should read, do those assignments, and then we used to take the Zoom class. It came out to be very effective process, because when the teacher used to take the class, the students were already aware of, much of the material. So the teacher, she used to teach the topic, and the students, they started taking interest, and it also built the connection with them. Now, when we started with the assessment, there were many multiple platforms that were started. Like we used to give them online tests were there, we used to give them assignments. So now what we are doing, we have started giving them open book test. They would open the books, they would do their assignments, and then after doing their assignments, they would be submitting the assignment, and the teachers are checking those assignments. So this is how we are doing it. I do agree that yes, technology plays an important role in our lives. It is our savior, and if we cannot take it away from our children, because if we take away technology from them, it means we are disconnecting them from the world. So what we have to do is, we have to work as counselors. We have to train them that they have to, that they should use it wisely. information is available everywhere. We know that. Information is here and there in bits and bytes. So the main purpose of the teacher is to train the students to scan and to skim that information that is useful for them. So these are some of the things that we are doing, we are taking up.
Just checking if ma'am is there. Seema ma'am, are you there? Abhishek, can you just confirm? Seema ma'am, are you there?
Hello?
Hello?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am, I can hear you now. Ma'am, I think your screen just went off abruptly. Was just checking if you were done. Hello? Ma'am, is it a connectivity issue? Because I'm not being able to hear you right now. Ladies and gentlemen, looks like we are facing some connectivity issues at Ms. Kataria's end. Let's just give it a few seconds to see if we can establish the connection again. I think ma'am was wrapping up in any case. So, ma'am, thank you so much for sharing those thoughts with us and that to hear how your school is using Notebook. It's our privilege to be able to power schools such as yours across the country, and really fills us with a lot of joy and pride when we hear experienced educators like you talking about how we at Notebook could add some value to your process. With that, ladies and gentlemen, we will now invite Achin back for the vote of thanks. It's been a phenomenal session today. Some great thoughts about use and abuse of technology. Achin, if we could have you back, please.
Sure, I think wonderful session, and the best part of it is, I'll say we got a completely 360-degree perspective, like different viewpoints, covering all the aspects, and some wonderful deliberations. But it's a great start. Love to hear about your school, and especially the part of confiscating dongles and then the shift of approach. And you very rightly mentioned that understanding them, counseling them, much more important than policing. I think those are words of wisdom, priceless. And I'm sure those are takeaways from our session today. Miss Reeta Bhargava, I think very systematic approach, and each point that you made a lot of sense. Although I understand you were traveling and there was little connectivity issue, but content was really good. Mr. Mahesh Iyer, sir, very rhythmic presentation. I really loved your calm and methodical approach to the topic. And you very rightly mentioned the future will cut the middleman. Completely agree. Thanks for discussing about various aspects like transformation, digital media, embracing modern technology. And very happy to know about how you implemented state-of-the-art technology in your school and your online activity. And thank you so much for sharing the inspiring videos. Miss Seema Kataria, beautiful thought. I think the way you started, really very touching. Example of a farmer giving a handful of rice to a teacher. And indeed, any student makes a difference, not only to his or her own life, but to the family that he or she comes from, the community and the society at large. And that's exactly how we at Notebook look at things. Great to know about your proactive approach, about handling the current situation, engaging professionals, training teachers, parents, mentoring system, really practical, functional, and inspiring. And ma'am, as you very rightly mentioned, technology indeed is a two-way knife. With that, I would like to conclude for the evening. I think we really had a very nice session. And the takeaway from the session, as Burrett sir mentioned, and all our learned speakers touched upon, the need of the hour is not to take away digital devices from our children. That's impractical. But what is practical is to be a friend, to be a counselor, to mentor them, and to ensure that they are safe. Thank you, take care, and goodbye.